Chief, how you doing? You look good in retirement.
That's what I said.
Donna's keeping you working a lot. Is that house done yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Still a lot of work.
Soon.
It's never done.
He's building a house up in there, upstate New York right now. Oh, there's Melissa. Hi, Melissa. Danny? Melissa, you did a great job on Sunday. Very nice. Mary Jane, it was a wonderful ceremony. Dustin's back to film us. Okay, good. I don't know. Good call. I haven't heard from you. Unless the 3-week things messed them up. Gentlemen?
Well, it's still hard to see him in a fire uniform.
Neil?
It's
Oh,
still
Nick,
hard.
Nick.
Nick, I can't, Nick. It just looks different. How you doing? Doing well, thank you.
Well, you're among good friends. Just watch that Bennett guy. I apologize for the delay. We have to wait till 6 o'clock because this is filmed and it goes over Zoom. So we have to be on time. But thank you all for coming this evening. Welcome to firefighters. Thank you for your efforts in keeping us safe and showing up to watch the promotion of your new deputy chief and new lieutenant. Appreciate that. We can stand now for the pledge and invocation and pledge of the flag. God of peace, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Even if we have different opinions, give us the unity of spirit. Help each of us listen politely as others share their points of view, but help us work as a unified team, combining those ideas for a greater outcome for our residents. Help us to work as a whole rather than as individuals trying to promote their own agendas. May we have a spirit of camaraderie in this room and work together on our shared mission. Tonight, we also ask that you watch over our first responders, but especially we pray tonight for our 2 firefighters being promoted to officers, both the deputy chief and the lieutenant. We also could ask that you watch over our 2 outgoing commissioners from the Planning Commission. May they have a long and healthy lives as we thank them for their service to our city. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Give me a minute.
No, now.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Ettinger? Mr. Milan?
Here.
Mr. O'Connell?
Here.
Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Mrs. Sultana? Mayor Panto?
Here. At this time, we'll have the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any additions or corrections? Roll call.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Action on our minutes of our April 13th meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
At this time in our meeting, we have the swearing in of new firefighter officers. First, we'll bring up Chad Gruber as deputy chief. I also want to recognize that Mike Hill, our former fire chief, is in the audience with his lovely wife. I want to say thank you for being here. And I want to thank all of our first responders, our firefighters for coming, because not only do you guys do a great job, but show up in support of your officers very quickly. Chad. I, Chad Gruber. I, Chad Gruber. Solemnly swear. Solemnly swear. That I will support. That I will support. Obey. And defend. Defend the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the United States. Constitution of this country. Constitution of this country. No. laws of the Commonwealth and the ordinances of Easton, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with faith. I do further swear that I will uphold, obey, and implement all of my charges without consideration of a person's race, color, creed, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability. I do further swear that I do not advocate, nor am I knowingly a member of any organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or this Commonwealth. Nor will I deny other persons their rights under the Constitution of the United States or this Commonwealth. I do further swear that I will not so advocate, nor will I knowingly become a member of such organization during the period that I am an employee of Easton.
Just to sign.
It's nice to finally have the deputy chief's position filled, and we're looking forward to also filling our other lieutenant's position.
Thank you.
So, thank you for.
I just want to thank Chad. I've known Chad since I've been in office, and he's been a dedicated member, not only of the firefighter, but he's been an important person involved in the International Association of Firefighters Union, and bringing him up to fill this position of deputy chief is an honor, and I congratulate him again. I also want to thank his family for being here and for lending him to us and to our residents. We really thank you all. We know that it's firefighting is a very difficult position, and hopefully he doesn't bring too much of that stress home with him. But we thank the families of all of our firefighters because they are the support that we need. So thank you, Deputy Chief Chad. Peter, you want to say anything?
Oh, sure, Mayor. Thank you. Chad, congratulations. I've seen you rise through the ranks from firefighter to deputy fire chief, and I'm really proud that you are now our new deputy fire chief, so that you are in the line of succession for our future. So thank you very much.
I just want to say I've always been impressed with your background, your knowledge, your dedication, and I'm glad to see you in this deputy chief position because I think you're going to do a great job. Thanks.
Chad, thank you for the service, first of all. Thank your family for the service. And I, as others, seen your progression. And I know without a doubt you're going to do well in your position. I wish you nothing but greatness. Thank you for serving us.
Deputy Chief, thanks very much for your service and your dedication, and I wish you the very best in the future. And I want to thank your family, too. Thanks very much.
The Deputy Chief was moved up from lieutenant, which led a vacancy, and I am very proud tonight to bring up Lieutenant Terrence Hand. I, Terrence Hand, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this Commonwealth, that I will enforce the laws of the Commonwealth, and the ordinance of Easton, and I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. I do further swear that I will uphold, obey, and implement the law without consideration of a person's race, color, sex, religious creed, sexual orientation, age, national origin, ancestry, handicap, or disability. I do further swear that I do not advocate, advocate, nor am I knowingly a member of any organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this Commonwealth. Nor will I deny other persons their rights under the Constitution of the United States or this Commonwealth. I do further swear that I will not so advocate, nor will I knowingly become a member of such organization during the period that I am an employee of Easton.
Hey, before you leave, I just need to sign right here. Your life.
I just want to say, for me, this is a personal, not just a political or a mayoral decision, but it's a personal gratitude for me. I've known Terrence since he was a young lad. I'm glad to see that Anita is here, where Terrence had spent some time. Terrence was there when my wife was on the board. I'm glad to see his wife and his sister-in-law, who I had as a student, and his in-laws. I haven't seen them in a long, long time, but you both look great. Again, it's a family that supports not only the firefighter, but now an officer in the fire department who's going to come home. Terrence's first day was last week when he had the unfortunate fire at the roof of the State Cafe. And he had some people there who were not overly, what we talk about the oath about enforcing the laws. And I say, well, they're firefighters. They don't have, yeah, there are laws. And one of the laws is crowd control. And one of the contractors decided that they wanted to be up on the roof. And Terrence handled it very well, and so did Chad. Chad was there. Both of them were there at the same time. So we have very professional firefighters. I've always said that it's something that I've always valued in this city, that we have professional firefighters ready to roll at all hours of the day or night. And that's nothing against volunteers, because volunteers are worthwhile people as well. But we are, in our city, are very fortunate to have a group of, unfortunately right now it's young men, but hopefully it'll be young women as well, who will roll on a given notice, not just for fires, but for rescues. We do rescues in water, we do rescue on land, we do car accidents. So those are really important, and they're all trained paramedics. And if you're not of good health, you might want to live in the city of Easton, because you know you're going to have somebody showing up at your door real quick. So Terrence, I'm really proud to appoint you, and as Peter said before, with Chad moving up, this is your opportunity to excel and move up the ranks of the department as well. So I appreciate that. Mike, the Chief Krill, I appreciate all your efforts. I know how much you did in the short time you were here as our chief, and you had Hennings as your deputy chief, so now he's the chief, and I'm glad that you're still a phone call away. We appreciate your support. Peter?
Thank you, Mayor. Terrence, congratulations. Thank you for remaining a loyal employee to the city of Easton. This is a little more special for me because you're a constituent, so it gives a little more oomph in the congratulatory process. So thank you very much, and congratulations. Best of luck to you.
Terrence, congratulations. I think we've known each other since before I was on city council, just because of College Hill. But I'm very, very happy for you. I'm glad that you got this promotion, and I know that you're doing a great job. And congratulations, and good luck in the future.
Thank you, Mayor. Terrence, we go back a long ways. Walked the same streets in Philadelphia. And I know that your parents, and I know for sure your daughter is very, very proud of you. Well deserved. I know you'll do well. And I speak greatness into you now, that you get what you deserve and do well for the city of Easton. And I know you will. And I'm just a phone call away. Have a coffee, talk, whatever you want to do. Very proud of you. Glad you're part of the team.
Terrence, I just want to thank you for your service and your dedication. I'd like to thank your family, too. I know that firefighting is just a really a tough job. I know that. And I know that this is just the next step in a very distinguished career, and we here on council and the whole city we're very, very proud of you and Chad, and I wish you the very best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, if the firefighters, if you would care to leave, and Terrence, your family, Chad, and your family, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, but at this time.
No, you're locked in.
Now we got a mass exodus.
Oh,
There goes
that,
everybody.
that door doesn't lock. That door locks from the inside, so.
Someone did a home run.
I did. I did.
No,
One did. Yep.
Signature, Mayor, signature, Mayor.
yeah, but at the bottom it says authorized signature.
Oh.
Because the top signature used to be the chief's. Mayor, we can do public comment first?
This, I thought it was presentation. We'll do public comment.
It is, I'm sorry. You're right.
I thought. Our next position on the agenda is some presentations for a job well done. You know, these two gentlemen that we're honoring tonight, we don't honor everybody that goes off of our authorities, boards, and commissions, but Robert's son was appointed in 2005, and I appointed Cha Elliott way back in the 80s. And he's been serving for over 30 years, and Robert has been on, and they've both been on during probably the greatest renaissance that the city has witnessed in probably 135 years since the early part of the 20th century, when all of the industry was moving into our city and we were growing like crazy. I can say that I didn't always agree with both of them, but they always were respectful and polite. And Robert is one of the most intelligent, smartest guys I know. I saw him walk in. There he is. And I just appreciate the fact that our planning commission has really a reputation throughout the Lehigh Valley for being one of the finest. And I think that has a lot to do with the two gentlemen that we're honoring tonight. A lot has to do with Ken Green, who's here tonight, who's taking over for Chot as chairman. He had the tutelage of Chot for some time. And I think we have a better city. That not everybody is going to agree, but I think we have a better city because every project gets the review that is warranted and needed. And so I want to present at these public meetings. This award is presented to Robert's son in grateful appreciation for the many decades he dedicated service to the Easton Planning Commission, guiding our city through the renaissance we are experiencing. So, Robert, I appreciate it very much.
Well, it's an honor to receive this. I've been in the city. I think I bought my building on 3rd Street in 1980. So I've lived here more than half of my life here. I've seen it grow tremendously, and I want to thank the mayor and city council and all the residents who have volunteered their time and service and guidance. I'm a great believer that any significant project should really get all the views to be looked at from every different angle. I have viewed this as a family, and in families, you talk things out. You may have disagreements, but in the end, we're all stronger for it. And it's been a pleasure to serve under Chot. I think he's one of the more exceptional individuals I've met. I've known him really since I moved in the city. So he's like a 4 decades long friend. So thank you all for the privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. It's hard to say goodbye to Chot, and I know we're not saying goodbye to him because he's still going to be in the city. His law office with his brothers right down the street. And he's never going to, he lives on College Hill. He's never going to be tired of this city. And we need his advice, his input, and his guidance. So, Chad, you've been the level-headed person when others have gotten out of hand and got a little hot-headed about different projects. You've always made us go through the ordinance changes first, that you are enforcing the ordinances of the city, and you're reviewing those plans based on what the public has decided it wanted. I know of a couple cases where the developments were not well-liked maybe, but you always were consistently calm and really down to the detail of saying, but that's not what the ordinance says. The ordinance says this, and I just want you to know that I personally appreciate the time and dedication you gave not only to the Planning Commission, but to the entire city. So on behalf of the city, I would like to present this to Chad Elliott for his more than 3 decades.
Mayor, thank you very much, and thank you, City Council. They say that longevity is its own reward, but this is extra. So thank you very much. I also just want to express my appreciation and thanks to my fellow commissioners who have served with me for all those years. I see Ken here in the audience, who I know will be a worthy successor. I'll be looking forward to seeing him spend his time in service. And also my thanks to the city staff who, helped the commission do its work well. You always made us look good. And I know how much work went behind the scenes to do all the preparation, analysis, and review. So I really appreciate that. The other thing I just wanted to say was to express my appreciation for all the community members who came out to those meetings, month after month. Sometimes, as you know, meetings that lasted into the midnight hour. So they were very patient. They were always civil, respectful, and they were always helpful. And I know there were some cases where, in expressing their views and making their positions known, they really made a decisive difference in the decisions that we made. And I think that's sort of one of the most important and fundamental aspects of American democracy, that people come out to public meetings and let their positions be known. So, thank you. I appreciate it all very much. Thank you, members of council, and Mayor again.
Thank you, Chad. Both Chad and Robert have helped us, not just in the planning area, but in the environmental area, protecting our environment. Chad helped us fight Penn East pipeline. Most people don't realize this, but the city of Easton actually goes out to Route 33. Admittedly, it's only a small stretch along the canal, but we do own it is part of the city of Easton all the way out to 33 where the pipeline wanted to come through. So I appreciate your help on that as well. And Robert, you're the same way. We go back to the days of Corco when you were very involved in that, and we were having problems down at the wastewater plant with the industrial pretreatment program. So these two guys have been a valued advisors, not just members of the Planning Commission. So thank you very much. We appreciate it. Peter?
Thank you, Mayor. Chop, Mr. Sun, thank you so much for your commitment to the City Planning Commission. I do have a short story. You guys probably don't remember this. 17 years ago, I had to come in front of the Planning Commission, and the gentleman 3 down from me to your left was my legal counsel. And you paying attention? All right, good. My first time in front of the Planning Commission, and I didn't know what to expect. And you were asking me some very tough questions about converting my property from a residence to a mixed-use property. And I'm getting ready to respond, and my legal counsel reaches over to me and goes, "Shut up, don't talk." I didn't speak then. So thank you both for your commitment to the city, and wish you nothing but the best of luck in your retirement. So thank you.
to both of you, thanks. I mean, I can't express the dedication that both of you have given to the city is just enormous. I will have just two short stories. I do remember coming to a planning commission meeting that was very contentious, and Chot, you just handled it so well, and it's one of the memories that I have of just handling that situation, and I was very impressed at your abilities to just get things through, and keep everything on a plane. Bob, I have to tell you, the thing I remember about you is the one time you invited me into your house, and I looked down the hallway and I went, I can't believe it's so long. But being here in for that period of time since the 80s, living here in the city, you've really been a part of our city coming back, and that you came at a time that was not real good here, and being a part of that, I appreciate. So thank you both very much.
Vice Mayor Brown?
Thank you, Mayor. What can I say? When you look over the years that you guys have served, you served it very well. Nothing is that we have in the city goes without going through you or around you. It always goes straight. You're to the T when it comes to crossing it, and you're to the I when it needs to be dotted. And the city is better for that. And as we continue to see the city growth, know that you're a part of it, and that you can sit out and be proud that you was just a little 40 or 30 years part of it. But we appreciate you, and I know that both of you guys will not sit home and do nothing. There's always something to do. So thank you for your service, thank you for your time, and may you have a wealth of life ahead of you.
I want to thank both of you for your long and dedicated service. When I was the head of the planning committee on council, I started going to a lot of the planning commission meetings. And Chot, you always ran these meetings in the most courteous and professional and reasonable manner. There were times when things really could have got out of hand, but you really did a good job of keeping things on the right path. And Bob, I know that many of your penetrating and really direct questions to a lot of the developers who came before the Planning Commission really shined a light on all of the issues that were involved and how these projects were going to impact the city. And I thank you very much for that, and I thank you both for your service, and Easton is a much, much better place now because of you guys, so thanks very much.
Again, both of you. I just remember, Robert, there are only 2 times when I left this city to go to something out of the city that was for one of our residents. One was Carl Sterner when he did his sculpture up at the Hartford Medical Center, and one was you when you launched your Ming in New York City with the reception, and now you've gone on to 24 and everything. And so it's the kind of dedication you gave to us that I hope we gave back to you, and we'll do so in the future. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Moving on now to public comment on agenda items only. If you have anything on the agenda you'd like to address, there is a time at the end of the meeting for public comment on anything concerning the city of Easton. If there's any public comment right now on agenda items, please come up, give your name and address. Seeing none, we'll move on. Madam Clerk, consent agenda.
Okay. Under the consent agenda, we have bill number 7 that was introduced by Mr. Brown. It would have amend the 2022 Open Space Park Fund budget.
Move. Oh, you're going to do the agenda, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to read it. Then we have a resolution approving a COA for 26 North 3rd Street.
I don't know if we should do that one. Oh, the Elliott's left. That's right. We can do that.
A resolution approving a COA for 15 South 6th Street. A resolution approving a COA for 124 North 4th Street. A resolution approving a COA for 47 South 5th Street. A resolution approving a COA for 316 Bushkill Street. And a resolution approving a COA for 27 South 3rd Street. We also have a resolution approving an application for a Greenways Trail and Recreation Program grant for the Vanderveer Park Greenway project. A resolution approving a proposal with Barry Issett and Associates for the design of a roof for Fire Central. A resolution approving an agreement with the Lopakon Swim Team. A resolution approving an agreement with the Blue Eagle Swim Team. And a resolution approving an agreement with the YMCA to manage the city's summer park program. And then we also have a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding with the Easton School District that will allow the city's consulting engineer to enter upon the Cheston School property to investigate the feasibility of constructing a stormwater facility.
Move the consent agenda.
Second.
Move the second. Discussion. Go ahead, Dr. Ruggles.
Several items. On the Barry Isaac and Associates, minor, but the work schedule has the wrong dates on the completion. So it has 2022, and for contracts, construction and final completion, it should be 23, I believe. And maybe a little bit of a question legally here. I noticed that in that packet is a agreement for professional services that they signed. There's a signature location for the mayor.
Find it.
In that agreement for professional services is listed phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And in our resolution, we only have funding for phase 1. Are we approving all 3 phases tonight? And if so, do we need to change the amount?
I'm trying to find that exact page in the agreement right now.
Mr. Hopkins, would you want to address this?
Yeah, I don't even know that we necessarily need an agreement, Jeremy. We can probably just do this and award the first phase of their proposal.
Okay. I mean, it was in the packet and it was signed by them. That's why I was wondering, and had a location for the signature for the mayor too.
You know, I think after that it was submitted, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know, we really can do the other things in house, and we're not gonna need them for bid phase services
Oh, okay.
or construction admin. You know, we can do that. So I think we can just send them approval and saying you're all set to go for phase 1. That's really what we need them for.
Well, and to answer your question, Dr. Ruggles, the agreement states that the payments will be made after the work is completed. So if we tell them we don't need them to do the work, we'll be under an obligation to pay for any such work.
Okay.
So I believe that that's not a problem. If it proceeds as Mr. Hopkins says, that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
Well, and you know, the other thing we could do is just, you know, if we wanted to have some type of written agreement, we could just authorize the resolution now approving it per us working through the language with Jeremy.
Okay.
While you're up there, Mr. Hopkins, you want to just update City Council? They're getting ready to approve our grant application for Vanderveer. Just want to update them on the cooperation we had with the school district, et cetera.
Yeah, I'd love to, because it's going to be a great project. The school district staff was really wonderful to work with. It took 2 years to get to a lease agreement, which you may know since we traded Cottingham for Lacanore Park back in the 30s. We've actually never had a lease agreement in place. I think it was a handshake, and you know, we've maintained the park since then. This agreement is going to lead phase 1 because we have the HUD early action money. We need to get that done. There's no extension for that, which is why we're pushing the schedule. We're going to do the we're actually taking Vanderveer's current location and moving it to the 12th Street side so that the kids will have an easy crossing between the green space behind PAX and the new enlarged green space, which is about 4 times larger than the existing park. We're also going to use the parking lot for shared recreation, and they were very cooperative about all the ideas we presented to them, because there's no need if you can share an impervious surface for basketball, there's no need to have a dedicated portion of it, and that's really how we enlarged the green space. So phase 1, Civitas Reggio, they sent me progress drawings, and if everything goes to plan, we should have that completed by before the first use of the stadium for football, which I think is August 6th, somewhere in that time frame.
Early.
And then we'll fundraise in the fall and over the winter to get phase 2 done, and hopefully we can start that right after school ends in 23 and have that done over the summer next year. So there will be a period of time where, obviously we're going to have to demo the existing park area to get the work done. And I've been working with GEDP on some type of public outreach plan to just make sure everyone knows, what's going on. And we're also going to have a project sign at the site to let people know what the plans are.
Excellent.
Great.
Dr. Ruggles?
Again, I'm coming back. I noticed last meeting we had agreement with the men's baseball and the women's softball league, and today we have one with the 2 swim teams.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that our liability varies in many of these. With the women's softball, it was $2 million. With men's baseball, it was $1 million. For the swim team, both of them are $1 million, and the Y is $1 million, but it has a 200 annual aggregate. And I just feel that we should be consistent. Whatever we want as a liability amount, we should be consistent with. So I don't know what you think of that, or.
Well, you certainly want to tie it to the risks that are involved with the activity that's there, and I would imagine that there's some discussion with our insurance providers as to what levels we should have. But I don't know. We could certainly look into that.
So when each of these agreements was actually formulated, it was sent off for legal review, and it was sent off to our consultant for insurance levels. So I think it could be one of those things where, depending on who reviewed it,
Okay.
they put the recommendation in for the insurance coverages.
Okay.
But I do agree. I think standardization would be, it makes sense, but it should also be tied, to the level of inherent risk, I think.
Yeah, I mean, all of those, I think, probably are fairly close. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a risk expert, but I would think that all of those have about the same amount of risk.
Yeah, I would think that there could be a discussion had with the consultants regarding the insurance coverages that should be required. I would obviously think an instance where, that there's a possible outcome that's catastrophic, swimming, i.e. drowning, would probably require some sort of higher levels than maybe a softball tournament would, where death would seem less likely. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in risk either.
Yeah.
But we should probably have that reviewed, and some consistency probably isn't a bad idea.
I'll do that. I'll have KWM go over.
And we've had $1 million for a long time, and it just
Inflation.
seems like we may want to ratchet that a little
Well, I think
bit.
we also get Jeremy and Joel to decide what we need as far as indemnification agreements, because really this is the same as a special event. Ever since that accident that we had in the Circle, maybe we need them, instead of just naming us additional insured, maybe we need an indemnification agreement as well.
We ensure that those things exist in these contracts, and the additional insured and indemnification work hand in hand to protect the city from exactly the kind of instance that happened with some of these slip falls, where the city then gets dragged in later, even though it's not the city's fault. But that's kind of the double layer protection that we look for.
The good news is that our swimming pools are being recognized as being really high quality. When we have Nazareth and Lopakon coming to us to use our facilities, and the good news, just so the public that's here, they are only allowed to use them when our residents don't use them. So their practices are really early in the morning. Very cold.
Yeah, we'll do a review of that. And admittedly, when we have those legal reviews and insurance sign-offs,
Right, yeah.
and you do the same thing year after year, we kind of just get.
Fall into a. While you're here, Dave, on the management agreement with Y, the $50,000, is that for both programs? It wasn't clear to me.
But by both programs.
Well, in the document, it had the swimming pool, and then it had a description of the summer program.
They're going to use the pools to program for the park program. So their locations are going to be Nevin Park, Vanderveer Park, Dutchtown,
Right,
Neighborhood Center, and the
Right.
two pools
right. But
with meals.
it really wasn't clear to me that the 50,000 covers both of those, though.
It covers everything.
Covers everything.
Well,
Okay.
they don't charge us to manage the pools. That's a more of a strategic partnership.
Okay.
So, and
Oh, okay.
I think we forget that every year. What that allows them to do is keep their aquatic staff employed fully year round.
Okay.
And it helps us because they handle all the human resources functions. It's really a great relationship. On the park side, that's where we're actually paying them for the park program versus what we do at the pools.
Okay, because it really wasn't clear to me where that, and I thought it was pretty cheap for both of them. But
Well,
yeah.
well, council had passed the YMCA pool management agreement at the last
Right.
meeting, so that covers that. But I think a lot of people don't understand that partnership, that we actually they don't charge us to do that, which is
And
valuable.
I was just wondering, where does that money come into our budget? Because one of the things that we often look at is the revenue that we get from our summer non-resident programs at the pool, and say, oh, gee, look, we lost X number of dollars. But I never see that other income stream that comes in as a result of the pools, for these swim teams.
right, and it's substantial actually.
Yeah, if it's 12,000, max was 12,000. If it's that for both teams, it's about what we got last year for swimming, for the whole summer. But it would pretty much cover the cost of the pools. So, where does that come into the budget?
For the park program?
Or for the swim club?
The swim teams, when they pay us,
swim teams.
goes into, I think, the rental.
That goes into the 202 fund, which is Parks and Recreation.
Okay.
You know what? It's sometimes it's hard to consolidate that budget because I always thought that having the pavilions at the pools really contributed to how intensely they're used, and so you could probably almost argue that the pavilion rentals at the pools should also be in that accounting.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you look at it, it's not so much of a deficit. Revenue and expense get a lot closer when you add in those other functions.
True.
Just a really small thing in the management agreement. In that particular management agreement, it defines the pools as pool in quotes, and it refers to it in the text as pools plural. So maybe just put an S in there. Sorry.
There is a standard construction when you construe documents that oftentimes the plural and the singular are treated as the same. So I don't think the courts will really trip us up too much in that regard.
Thanks, Dave.
And just for the public's record, and I see Amy here, we are really happy to reinvigorate the summer playground recreation program, but we haven't had for many years. And that is being used with the American Rescue Plan dollars. So that's where you won't see it in this budget. You're going to see it when we make the amendment to the ARPA budget. There'll be $50,000 for the summer playground. Actually, there'll be $60,000 for the summer playground program, because $50 for the YMCA's oversight and management of and the hiring, and $10,000 would be for a trailer. And what are we calling it, Dave? Pop-up rec? Pop-rec or pop-up rec? Pop-up rec. It'll be they'll load on the various things they're going to use, and they'll move it around from playground to playground and pool to pool. Okay.
Need a vote.
Yes, we do need a vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
And Mayor Pianto?
There's no reports we received by council this night, so I'll go on to reports. Finance Committee, Vice Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, we met last night. Director Marcelinsky, I got your name on mixing now, gave us an update on the audit for the 2021. And he also went over with council the interviews that are taking place for a new firm for our audits, and that he will be bringing that to council in the near future, their recommendations. And there were some questions that were asked last night from some of the council members, and I believe our director will be giving us an update on that this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I actually did send council just probably moments before the meeting. I've just finished up some, let's say, cleanup of the 21 numbers that we went over yesterday. And I know that there are a few items that are still outstanding, and I'll continue to update those. But at this point, I don't believe that there are any significant issues that we didn't touch on yesterday.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Any
Happy
questions for
birthday,
Mr.
Mark.
Woznicki?
Happy birthday.
Economic Development Committee, Councilmember O'Connell.
I have no report, Mayor.
Planning Committee's not here. Public Safety Committee, Councilman Ruggles.
Thank you. Not necessarily under my committee, but everybody's invited to our community breakfast on Saturday, 9 to 11. It'll be over at St. John's Church. There is no charge. It was decided that we would take donations at the door for the State Cafe. So if anybody wants to contribute to the State Cafe, any money that goes into that is just going to be walked right up to the State Cafe and given to them for their help subsidize their employees. Okay, so that will happen. The other thing that I wanted to announce is that the Recreation Department just completed a senior recreation survey, and they have put together a initial set of activities that are in the planning stages right now, but hopefully they will be implemented by late May or early June. And you'll start to see advertisements for that. If individuals responded to the survey, and thank you very much for the the assist there on the internet or on your. I'm not sure how you published it, but thanks. If you did respond to it and give us your contact information, we will notify you through that contact, but we will also try to do that over for these programs over all our social media and our website also. But I'm really excited about this because I think it will be unique to the Valley. Some of the programs that we're planning on doing are going to be very unique, and I think it'll be very valuable for our seniors. So look in the future for that to happen. So.
Dr. Ruggles and I will be cooking not just this weekend, but also on August, since you brought up seniors. Senior Day is August 21st. It's a Sunday this year, so we're expecting a larger crowd. And we will have entertainment, bingo, music, games, and lunch on the city for all of our golden, which I'm now part of. That's right. Wow, I could get a free lunch August 21st. Administration Committee, Councilmember Milan.
I have no report, Mayor.
City Solicitor, Solicitor Clark.
I have no report, Mayor.
Report of the mayor. I just want to report on a couple of things. You'll be getting a budget transfer, as we talked about last night, on a number of issues, not only the budget updates, but when we look over, the economy has had an impact in a positive way for our budget, our 21 budget. So we're looking at that already after the first quarter. We just got our first quarter casino check. It's $280,000, not the $305,000 that it was running in 2019, but but certainly a lot higher than it's been in the last 2 years. We also have a huge increase in our earned income tax, as we talked about last night, $340,000 increase. But our non-resident EIT is down from what we originally budgeted. But the real estate transfer tax, because the real estate budget, real estate market is so hot right now in this area in the Lehigh Valley and probably throughout the country, we saw a $77,000 increase already in that, and from year to date comparable. The only thing we see that is running a little bit counterproductive in the expense side, of course, is the price of gasoline. When you have a fire department and a police department on the road all day long, we're probably going to need to make a budget transfer of about $30,000 to the positive. So we're looking at still having about a $340,000 spread. So we're looking at that. Want to thank those that came down on Sunday for Earth Day. It was well attended. The Audubon Society, the Lenny Lenape, our urban foresters were there giving away free bluebird boxes, selling plants, and the community gardens people were working really hard. Cinco de Mayo, we are working with Mesa. They're doing a Cinco de Mayo festival. We'll be closing down that portion of 3rd Street, and they're having some things like a taco fest, all-you-can-eat taco, etc. May 7th is a big day in Easton. We open up the farmers market, the 270th year of the farmers market. We also in the morning. Then we have the Chamber of Commerce is having a taco festival that afternoon down at Riverside Park. And then that evening at 4:30, we have a local band called Timewise starting at 4:30 to 8. And at 8:30 will be, or 4:30 to 7:30. And then at 8:30 will be The Circle. And Danny Cohen knows all those members. They were in the same fraternity, right? Only one, Don Daneman, right? Was it Daneman? Okay. These guys had Red River Ball and Turn Down Day, and they're coming back. They actually went to Lafayette. They were known as the Rondells, were at Lafayette. They actually had Brian Epstein became their manager, who was also the manager of the Beatles. And I'm sure Dan Donovan will talk about the fact that they opened for the Beatles 11 times, and one time the Beatles opened for them. They were out at Dodger Stadium, and it looked like it was going to rain, so the promoter wanted to get the Beatles on, so they got the Beatles on, and then The Circle. So he always likes to make a joke that he opened for the Beatles, or Beatles opened for him. So that is May 7th. I want to thank Mary Jane again and your family. That was a beautiful ceremony for Mac, and I'm really honored tonight. I've not, in my 14 years as mayor, I've only had the pleasure of naming 2 things. One, they both dealt with the Arts Trail. The Arts Trail is such a wonderful idea that Dick brought to me. And I'm so glad that it's going so well. But I was able to name it after Carl Sterner, and I recommended it to the city council, I should say. They named it. And tonight I'll be recommending that the Blue Bridge leading to the Carl Sterner Trail is named as the Richard McAteer Memorial Bridge. It wasn't my first choice, but it's the choice for the short term. I think if it comes to fruition with Nurture Nature and the park on the other side of the bridge, the pedestrian bridge that we're going to be doing, and Dave knows that, I think Dave came up with the idea of naming the park after Dick. And I don't know who's going to be here because it's going to be at least 4 years away. And I just wanted to make sure something was done for Dick in the meantime. And 90% of the people who use that trail, which is heavily used, go across the Blue Bridge first. So I'm really excited about and honored to do that. The next meeting, I just want to remind everybody that it's at the College Hill Presbyterian Church. It's not on site. We do 6 meetings a year off site. So that twice each.
3 meetings off-site.
I thought we did twice each place.
3 meetings
Oh,
off-site.
okay, that's good. Well, that's okay. And then before I introduce Lewis for his report, I'd like to also state that bring Dave up again. Mr. Hopkins, if you give us an update on the 4th Street Garage, how close we are to moving that crane. It's supposed to be Friday. Is it still on schedule? And Center Square.
It's an amazing thing to watch, Dave. It really is.
Yeah, it went up quick. And I'm sure people can't wait for us to get out of there. But the last piece, as of this morning, will go up Friday. And then Monday, they'll break the crane down. It should take 2.5 days. They have to lay the boom down on 4th Street, which is, that's going to be a fairly big job. So we'll work with the police, make sure they can get in and out of their driveway. I'm going to guess by the end of next week, that's a memory. Get the stone off the street, get the street swept and cleaned, and then, then the trades will come in, and we'll start working on the trade work in the garage and the plaza, which we're very excited about. I think it's going to be a great public space. So a lot of work to do still, and we're on track for probably a mid-July, in-service date, with some punch list items probably.
Just so the public knows, one of the things we were looking at right now is public bathrooms are really needed in downtown Easton, and they're non-existent. The ones that are here in this one, we put them in. We thought we had a great deal with Atlanta and Trans Bridge, and now this bus terminal is only open 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We've had a meeting with Atlanta. They said they were going to try to get Trans Bridge to open it longer, but they're just not available. The ones in the old garage are coming down, and they're in horrible shape anyway. We just don't want to put money into them to fix them. So we're looking at the possibility of using American Rescue Plan money to build. The mistake we made here, which again wasn't a mistake at the time, but with the amount of homelessness increasing in every city, they're not recommending that you do private bathrooms anymore. You do group bathrooms, so that you can't get in there, lock the door, and do whatever you want, and then shoot up or tear the place apart, take baths in the sinks. So what we're going to do is look at there's a place in the new garage. The garage was not built with public bathrooms, but we're thinking about doing that, and we'll be presenting a ARPA budget to City Council in 2 weeks once we make that decision on getting a price. It will not be part of the construction. It'll be after construction is done with the garage, and we'll look to put it right on the plaza that's being created between the buildings on Northampton Street and the garage. So it'd be a good place. It's convenient to the downtown, and we would put money in for at least 2 years with American Rescue Plan of having an attendant there, so that there's some kind of oversight. So with that, I'll turn it over to Louis.
Mayor, just quickly, presented last night on software enhancements regarding the parking system. I submitted my memo to the city clerk. That's all I have. I don't have any other updates. I did make those adjustments. One of the adjustments that I could anyway regarding Dr. Ruggles' request on the savings, including replacement costs when they come up. So they're in the memo, in your packet. You'll see them. If you want to see it sooner than later, you can send me an email and I'll send it right to you.
And I appreciated also in that the estimated lifespan of that. I mean, I have no idea how long those are, and getting an understanding of that's going to last or should last this long, I think is good. So thank you for that.
Yep, no problem.
There's no correspondence, no unfinished business, so Madam Clerk, we'll go right into new business.
Okay. We have bill number 8 being introduced by Mayor Panto, which would amend the traffic control map under Chapter 560 of the codes. And what it would be doing is creating a 10-minute daycare drop-off pickup zone on North 3rd Street by the 3rd Street Alliance.
So introduced.
We have an agreement it was going to be introduced by Mr. Ettinger.
I'll introduce it.
Okay, Mayor, thank you. An agreement with between the City of Easton and Sweetie Mommy LLC. They run the food concession stands at Heil Pool and Eddyside Park.
So moved. Introduce.
Okay. And we have an agreement with being introduced by also Mayor Panto, approving an agreement with the City of Easton and the school district, and it's what they talked about before, the new proposed footprint for Vanderveer Park.
So introduced.
We have a resolution being introduced by Mayor Panto, where he would like to recommend to City Council approve the naming of the Blue Bridge leading to the Carl Sterner Arch Trail as the Richard McAteer Memorial Bridge.
Would you please read the resolution?
Absolutely. Whereas Richard Dick McAteer was a member and former chair of Easton Redevelopment Authority and helped facilitate public-private partnerships to rehabilitate foreclosed homes as affordable residences. to convert long vacant commercial buildings into offices, shops, and restaurants, and to transform downtown Easton into a cultural destination and culinary hub. And whereas Richard was a founder and board member of Greater Easton Development Partnership, a public-private organization serving as a complement to the Easton Redevelopment Authority focused on community economic development. And whereas Richard was a graduate of King's College and received an honorary doctorate degree in 2021 from Lafayette College, where he was active in many town-grown initiatives. And whereas a member of the Easton Redevelopment Authority Board, he was active in the Renaissance taking place in Easton, and he was instrumental in many of the successful and visionary projects in Easton, including Silk, Crayola Experience, and gave Mayor Panto the idea for an arch trail which later became known as the Carl Sterner Arch Trail, where he was also a member of their board and very active in its development. Now therefore I, Salvatore J. Panto Jr., do hereby recommend Easton City Council approve the naming of the Blue Bridge leading to the Carl Sterner Arch Trail as the Richard McAteer Memorial Bridge, and urge all residents and users of that bridge remember Mac for all of his contributions to our community, especially the Carl Sterner Arch Trail and Silk, and further recommend that a plaque be installed commemorating this naming for all generations to acknowledge his many contributions to our city.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Milian?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
We have a resolution being introduced by Mr. Brown where we will be amending the 2022 salary and wage, where we will be reducing the number of firefighters from 43 to 42.
Moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Milian?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Okay, is there anything else that City Council would like to bring up before I can move to public comment?
Yes, Mayor, just one thing. I just wanted to acknowledge the administration and yourself for taking an ARPA and using it for affordable housing. As we look at the nation as they go through, what are they going to do with people's rents going up so high, 20 to 30%? So I just want to acknowledge the city and its administration for that.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, and it's an issue that we've made a priority this year, and I see Kirk Carlson is here, who's the vice chairman of our mayor's task force on affordable housing, who's put together a really good plan. We're putting together the funding for that now. We have at least $4 million of ARPA funds used to fund that. Affordable housing in the city. We've also put together a number of lots in the city where we could put some new housing that we could sell to people between 20% and 80% median income. These will be people who are working, but being hit by the large down payments that are being required by banks, et cetera. So we have a plan in place, and we appreciate the fact that City Council approved that plan, and we'll be moving forward. I'd also like to note that in the West Ward, hopefully, I will have a dream of a community center that I've been trying to put there for many, many years, and we're looking at assembling some additional land there. Today we looked at a parcel, so hopefully we'll get that to come to fruition as well, because it's not enough just to give somebody a roof over their head and a front door to walk through. It's also important that people have a place such as Dr. Ruggles and I talk about all the time for senior activities, not just adult basketball, adult volleyball, all those things that keep people healthy. COVID has had a huge impact on kids, on young people. So we need to do some more programming, but we don't have a facility. I don't want to get on my soapbox about what the townships and the boroughs should be doing, but it's always the city that's doing it. But we're going to do our share, if not more than our share, because we think it's important. Anyone else? Public is welcome to come up now, 5 minutes, name and address on any matter facing comments, concerns, questions about the city of Easton. Please, Kurt.
Kurt Carlson, Kurt with a K, Carlson with a C.
And your address?
827 Wilbur Street. here in Easton.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I was just in a meeting today. This is more of a comment rather than a question. Meeting today with the Regional Homeless Advisory Board, and just sort of an update about how we're keeping things rolling. I'll start attending meetings with sort of like-minded organizations and individuals across both Northampton County and Lehigh County, so we can start putting our heads together about multiple tactics to bring landlords to the table, to bring property managers to the table, so that we're coming at this from multiple sort of points, and that we're expanding our regional intellectual power, I guess, or prowess. So that'll happen in about a month and a half, I believe, is when the meeting is set. And so we'll hopefully be bringing even more ideas, more than even the task force has developed, to bear on the issues of housing here in Easton. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Sultana and I met with John Kingsley. We met with a group last week about the small houses, that concept of small houses. They're roughly 160 square feet. And Stephen Narowski was in that meeting as well, because obviously it would take a zoning change for allowing small houses in people's private yards. And as I said to the group, I'm all for it. I think it's great for homelessness, to prevent homelessness and give them a place to walk through a front door and be able to lock their personal belongings in spaces. My problem is, as we look around the city, there's not a lot of land. The land is out in the townships. And so we recommended that they have a meeting with the county, that maybe this should be a countywide initiative, not just an Easton initiative. We would do our part where we can find space to put these units. We had to dismantle a tent city down along Lehigh Drive because of the amount of garbage that was being thrown over the side of the mountain. I mean, they were warned 2 weeks ahead of time to clean the place up or they would be taken down, and we did. And unfortunately, we have others in the city, which that's fine. They do a better job of cleaning up after themselves. So if anybody's saw that, that has been cleaned up. Yes, sir. Sure, please.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I'm Dale Flowers from 147 South 4th Street. Got the Moose Lodge Apartments over here, and we're having some serious problems with parking. You know, we seem to be one of the larger units in the area, and the tenants that are in that building right now have nowhere to park. When they call the police department to get the monthly parking permits, they're told you're not allowing them to get it because of the size of the apartment building being 18 units in size. Anybody with 6 units and above, they no longer are allowed to park in Easton. You know, we got to come over here, try to get a place in the garage. We have a lot of older people, a lot of children that are in this apartment.
Young women. I'm Roseanne Flowers.
And
We were family owned and operated since 2007. You know, we saw the potential in Easton. We're not from this area, and we brought our family and, you know, invested in the town because we saw the potential. And now we feel like we've been forsaken for these huge 200-unit buildings that don't even live in the community. And for 15 years, we have been working so hard to bring decent people in and make, you know, the city proud of the Moose Lodge. And now we're losing thousands of dollars a month because the young women don't feel safe walking the 2 blocks to the parking garage. And, you know, if they have small children or carrying packages, they don't feel safe. There are a lot of homeless people, and we have, you know, tried to deal with that situation, and by the people being able to pay answer, they don't feel threatened by the homeless people. They know that they can see their door, and, you know, they need to be able to feel safe in their own home. So, you know, we feel like we've contributed so much to the community, and now we're just being forsaken for these large properties.
Well, actually, just, I think, as I said I think I replied in an email that we're looking at increasing that. This administration is looking at telling council maybe it needs to be 20 units.
Right.
But it can't be, what we're trying to do, you keep talking about the big apartment buildings that are going up. We're trying to keep them off the street.
Exactly.
So
I'm totally
The,
behind
so
that.
maybe we need to raise it to 20 because they still won't fit in it.
I
We're
mean-
working with our lawyers to try to make it as fair as possible.
Yeah.
Because we do appreciate what you did with the Moose Lodge.
Yeah,
It's a great project.
Unfortunately, when Greg, bought the abandoned building, which was the former Moose Lodge,
Mm-hmm.
and turned it into the 18 units, it was not required to have parking at that time, where now I know if you want to build an apartment, you have to have 1.5 parking spaces per unit. But when our building was converted, there was no such requirement. And,
And you don't, actually, I think you take up probably almost 100% of the lot anyway. There's no
Yes,
place to
we
put
do.
it.
The
Yeah.
building is 100% of the lot.
Yeah.
There's no available.
Right.
So we really just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board, respect everybody on the board, and hope you
Thank
can
you.
help us out with this issue.
Well, and let me just say that one of the reasons that we made it 6 was because of, the rationale there was because that's the break line for garbage.
Right.
If you have less than
Understood.
6, then you have to have the city pick it up. If it's more than 6, you got to do it on your own. So
Right.
that
We-
that was the rationale at the time anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Right, I
Understood.
see.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
But we'll be in touch. Anyone else like to address city council? Mary Jane?
My name and address, right? Yes, Mary Jane McAteer, 433 Paxanos Avenue. When Mac received his doctorate from Lafayette College, he had very few words to say, so I'm going to quote him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it.
So, right. We miss him, I know you do too. Anyone else have anything for city council? Not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Ruggles,
Aye.
Mayor Panto.
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Milan.
Aye.
Oh, and who am I missing? No,
Me.
that's it. Oh, and Mayor Oh, Dave. Mr. O'Connell.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.